Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Thomas Rutigliano. This is my first interview, and I am here with the lovely and ever so talented Kim Robertson, or as we all know her as, Kim Sevier. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me, Thomas.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an amazing and opportunity, and so nice to meet you. You're like the voice of my adolescence, so I love it.
I love it.
So the first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself before you got into acting.
Wow. That's such a great question because I think, I was so young and I was trying to figure myself out and find myself and really what my passion was in my 20s. And I was just starting out. So I was trying a little bit of everything and figuring out what I liked. So I did a lot of contact improvisation, which is dance. I did a lot of just regional small theater, in community type theater in Houston, Texas, where I'm from, my hometown. And I stumbled upon voiceover and I loved it. So I started doing a lot of the news trailers and standard commercial voiceover work in and around the Southwest. So I did a lot of voiceover. Radio commercials were big at the time. I know now somebody's going to say radio. What's that? But yes, we had a lot of radio commercials. Comedy improv. I loved comedy improv. And then I just kind of fell in to my work at ADV and got a real introduction into Japanese anime. So that was it, really. I was experimenting. Trying to graduate with some kind of degree from college
Mhm.
and trying to find my way and really figure out what I liked and what I didn't like at that time.
I love it. As someone who got a degree in art and photography, finding your way is always a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I envied those kids at the time, my peers at the time that just knew. Those
Yes.
kids that always knew they wanted to be a doctor or a veterinarian. I do not have any kind of math
Yes.
or science in my brain. So I'm
Nope.
definitely more of the creative or the language side. I love to write, but no, I was never going to be one of those kids.
Yes. I started out in communications and then I went to a different school and then I was like, no. And then I was like, okay, art's good. Art's fun.
That's
Yeah.
that's a safe bet. You know you're going to enjoy
Yes.
it. And I think,
Yes.
now hindsight, what it is, being an old lady, almost 60 now. Can you believe that? And looking back, I think, there's no regrets because I
Yeah.
did what I wanted to do. I did what I loved and what I was passionate about. And I don't think I could have done it any other way. Like if I wasn't in it to win it, if I wasn't really feeling all seven chakras line up and
Yeah.
ring, I wouldn't have done it. So,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Um, this is like what like first inspired you to pursue voice acting? And like, do you remember like, it's okay if you don't remember your like first like audition at ADV?
Oh, that is a good question. I don't know if I remember the first per se. So two questions there, right? Like what inspired me or attracted
Yeah.
me to voiceover acting, um, and then my first audition at ADV. So I would say what attracted me to it, I think I've just always been an actor at
Hmm.
heart. I remember one of those kind of like airy fairy Marianne Williamson things where they said, talk, think about what you wanted to do when you were a kid, and
Yeah.
if you zeroed in and locked in on that, that would really tell you what you were always meant to do or to become as a career or a profession. And I thought about it, gave it some really good brain space. And I think what I always wanted to do when I was little is be everything for one day. And I think
Yeah.
that was my little 5-year-old, 6-year-old self. I truly identify as a 6-year-old even today.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think that was my way of saying I wanted to be an actor. You know, I wanted to try everything one time. So I don't know that anything really particularly attracted me directly to voiceover, but
Hmm.
it was acting and it was always there. I was always writing screenplays and putting on shows and plays, even since I was teeny tiny, you know, with my friends. And then as I got older, and then like we talked about going through my 20s, I was really just trying everything from commercial to comedy to dance to theater to film and trying to find my way. So I tried voiceover. And when I did it, there was so much freedom there. It was really fun.
I love it. I also identify as a 6-year-old. Like, sometimes I work with the kids at the library, and like sometimes they say stuff, and I'm like, yeah, like do what you want.
Totally. Follow your heart, little being.
Yes, they're so sweet.
I
All
love it.
right. Okay, I'm gonna ask you about like some of my like favorite roles from you. If you don't
Okay.
remember, once again, it's totally fine. But like
Thank
my
you for that,
girl,
Grace.
my girl Yuri from Dirty Pair, like, oh, um, that's my life. Like, do you have any like experiences, or do you remember?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yuri is my favorite. I'm sorry, I have your questions here too. So I have thought joggers. But Yuri is by far my favorite. I mean, who doesn't like a scantily clad, large breasted teenage crime fighter? I mean,
Yes.
you know, it's just ubiquitous. It's everywhere you look. But I loved that series. I think what was most fulfilling about it was we were trying new techniques in the studio. So I
Yeah.
may not remember exactly my very first audition with
Yeah.
Matt Greenfield, but I remember going to the studio, and you know, this is the days of analog
Yeah.
recording. In fact, my first degree from community college happened to be in audio engineering, and it was literally with Ampex 456 tape, and these were the 90s. You know, we just didn't have cell phones, or gosh, I don't even think MapQuest was out. You
Yeah.
still had to get printed maps at the time. So to go in the studio, most of the time you went in and you would hear the tracks. And if you were early in the process, they would put you in a booth and you'd listen to all those that pre recorded ahead of you.
Hmm.
If you were very early in the process, there might not be anything down yet but the original Japanese that came over with the films. So you can imagine it was difficult to kind of find your
Yeah.
character and quickly understand these bizarre backstories and try to bring in as an actor what was required of the character in that moment, the feeling and the way they interact with other characters when all you're hearing is Japanese and you're watching
Hmm.
the mouth flaps on the film. And it was the tech was not there to like
Yeah.
stretch it or compress it. If your mouth flaps were off, you just did it again. So there was a
Yes.
lot of screaming and emoting, and you could be as big and crazy as you wanted. You know, it was like more when Matt was directing you. Um, and what was different about Yuri, she and Kay, who was performed by Sue Ulu, who happened to be a good friend of mine at the
The
time.
best.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible. And they put us, instead of having us do that traditional, like one person lays down and then the next, they put us in adjoining sound
Hmm.
booths in one room. So Matt was on one side of the glass, and Sue and I were each in our own booths, and we got to see each other across the room and hear each other live and really be able to be in the moment with the characters. And I think because she and I had a rapport, we had trust, we were
Yeah.
friends, good friends at the time in Houston, you know, we had that trust to really be able to experiment and play off one another, and it was just wonderful. And it doesn't sound like earth shaking today, but at the time it really was groundbreaking. And it was a very different way to do things. It was more akin to theater or shooting film
Yeah.
or something you were more accustomed to as an actor than just straight up voiceover. So I think Sue and I got to bring a lot to those characters.
Yeah.
And because we were the central figures in Dirty Pair Flash, you know, we got to be the backstory. We got to make it whatever we wanted rather than entering the process a bit later or being, you know, a one off kind of character where
Yeah.
you may not be able to build out the character as much.
Amazing. And I saw an interview with Sue from a few years ago, and she said she didn't like her, like she didn't think she did a good job. And I just want to say that she did absolutely amazing as
I
Kay.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It was so much fun too.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Yes. It's just like, wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, here's another role. Okay, also another character. It's like a one-off character, but it's from Cutie Honey. It's Gold Digger. You were like this. Do you remember it at all, or do you like?
Somewhat,
Yeah,
somewhat.
you had like hair. You were like obsessed with gold. You wanted all the gold in the world, and like you had this like you had the best like lines. You were badass. You were amazing.
I have to go back and rewatch that one, Thomas, because I
Yeah.
swear I think the name says it all about that
Yes.
character. I'm sure, you know, she was her best self, but I don't know that I would want to be that.
Yes. What did she say? You're like, what's you're just a, you turn into like a monster at the end, and you're like the best like monster voice ever. I was like,
Oh,
amazing.
amazing. Oh, I got to go back and watch that
And
one.
you call the lead character like a bitch like 400 times, and I'm like, I'm obsessed.
You know, sometimes you just got to say it like it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And then let's see, I love that role too. And then April in Soul Bianca, um, you were the lead in that, along with Sue and Tiffany and Kimberly Yates. And you were kind of like tough. You were like the lead gal. Do you remember that at
Um,
all?
Soul Bianca. I mean, it sounds familiar, but I can't remember
Yeah.
the dots and dashes. I guess those that are front and center in my mind are, of course, Dirty Pair Flash, because that
Yes.
series is just
Yes.
near and dear to my heart. Also, Ava.
Yes.
Although Yui had a smaller role,
Yeah.
her impact with just a few lines,
Yes.
but the impact of her character
Yeah.
was profound. So that one was really neat, especially as you go back and you look at like the philosophical angle of
Yeah.
Ava. You can play that over and over. You can rewatch it. You can think about the meanings and the double meanings in your mind. And I find
Yeah.
that a really captivating series. Um,
And
the
you did
other
some
one,
additional voices too. I remember.
yes,
You
little things tucked in. You're absolutely right. You're really
Yeah.
good at this, Thomas. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I just like
Uh,
know you're like
I did one. I can't remember her name, but it was the first anime I ever did for Matt,
Mhm.
and it was a Golden Boy.
Yes, Noriko. You played Noriko.
Noriko!
Yeah.
So I remember Noriko too. It was the first time that I worked for ADV. So, oh my gosh, it's I can still remember the feeling that I
Yeah.
had with Noriko because she was so innocent, and you
Yes.
know, Golden Boy's kind of fumbling,
Yeah.
hopeless kind of idiot character.
Yeah.
So that was fun too. It was fun to be Noriko, especially because it was the first time out of the gate.
Yes. And I'm just gonna go through a few other roles.
Okay.
Let's see. You were like in a live action, like Japanese movie. You were just like additional voices. It was like Gamera the Giant Turtle.
Yes.
You played like a girl on the train. I think you were with, I think you were acting. along with like Kurt Stoll, and like he's like, "Oh, like giant monsters." You go, "You are weird," and I love that.
Oh my God. He's hilarious, by the way.
Yes, and you got eaten by the monster, but that's okay.
Of
It
course.
happens.
It happens. Exactly. It happens.
Let's see. And you played this is like a very like it's like an episodic role, but you were in Sorcerer Hunters. And you played like this girl, this like mystical like lake girl, and you like went through like all like the her whole life, like from like a child to like an old woman. And like your
Yeah.
range in that episode is absolutely like wow, it's amazing.
That was fun. That was fun. I remember doing that one for sure. And to age her is more difficult than you would think.
Yeah,
Normally I would really just channel the feeling and I was grateful that it would come out, but that took a lot of work to really get the tonality and the differences in age right. It
yeah,
was more technique than
yeah,
I think I had mastered previously.
yes. And you were absolutely amazing. I like watch that episode all the time. Even though it hasn't aged the nicest as things from the 90s don't, but like I watch it just for your performance.
Thank you, Thomas. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I feel honored.
Well, thank you. I feel honored even talking to you. It's like, oh my God. And then let's see. Yui, amazing. Like, did you come back for the director's cut or
I
um
didn't.
you
I
didn't?
didn't. I think it was not for lack of trying. I don't think they could find me
Yeah,
because when I left Houston, I think I left in 99 and moved to New York.
yeah,
And I tried for a while to work in voiceover and act in New York City. But man, after about 6 years of auditioning, I got frustrated with, high rents, no
yes,
closets, having to work so hard where, just to keep the bills paid, where I had
yeah,
really had it easy in Texas with lower
yeah,
cost of living. You didn't have to be in the union. It was a right to work
yeah,
state, still is. So I had jumped through all of those hoops and, became SAG, became AFTRA, union members and got an agent and did new headshots, new reel, all of that for the New York market. Got a roommate, was paying the high rents and
yes.
whatnot, got a temp job, just as an admin, just to hold it all
Hmm.
together. And they gave me the feedback that nobody knew
Yes.
how to pronounce Sevier the way it was
Hmm.
written, which was a name borrowed from an old friend of mine. So
Hmm.
they encouraged me to go back to Robertson. And in those days, I mean, we didn't even have cell phones in the first two
Yeah.
or 3 years that I was there. So I remember looking for apartments in New York and riding the subway with the subway token, coming up out from underground at a subway stop,
Hmm.
looking at the listings for apartments in the Village Voice, and then looking at a subway map and having to figure out where I was going to go look at this
Yeah.
apartment. I mean, no technology. I don't. It's funny that I did that.
Yeah.
And I remember getting so frustrated. I'd come up out of the rabbit hole, getting off the train, and I'd walk inevitably 2 blocks in the wrong direction. So I bought a compass and I'd still
Hmm.
get out with my compass, my Village Voice, my subway map, and I'd find my way. And that's literally
Yeah.
how I found my first apartment. But my agent at that time said, go back to Robertson. People know how to
Hmm.
say it, they know how to pronounce it. So when ADV was pursuing the Ava director's cut, they
Yeah.
looked for me. And because of the lack of tech, because of the name change, and in a sea of 9 million people in New York, it just
Yeah.
wasn't happening.
Yes. Well, you still did a wonderful job um
You.
for the TV. Absolutely amazing role. And let's see. Another question. Another question. Let's see. Do you have, are there any people that you were like close to during like the ADV Films days?
Sue by far. Sue and
Yes.
I were the closest of everyone that I worked with, but I knew Tiffany well
Hmm.
too, and Matt, and admire both of them tremendously. But Sue, I think, was always a role model for me. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, she is beautiful, she's
Mhm.
talented, she's an accomplished actress, and she is a fitness fanatic. So
Yes.
she was always like running, working out, constantly, taking great care of herself. I, on the other hand,
Hmm.
am more of a fly by the seat of my pants
Me
girl.
too.
So while Sue was like buttoned up, healthy, formidable, trained, I liked to party and go
Hmm.
out and have a good
Hmm.
time and still have fun at work.
Yeah.
But I think over the years, oh my gosh, over the last 57 years, I've done some soul searching. And I swear
Hmm.
my top two values must be authenticity and
Hmm.
fun. Because if I'm not
Yes.
having a good time, I'm not doing it. So
Yeah.
I'm not, while I remain thin, I am
Hmm.
not the workout person that I would like to be.
That's all a part of aging, so it's okay. And you do you.
Right? Exactly. Oh, yeah. That just, all those lifting of those weights looks really
Yeah.
difficult to me
Yeah.
when I could be drinking wine or going out with my friends.
Exactly. Go for a walk.
Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
that. I'll do
Yeah.
that for sure. Walk all over New York City.
Exactly. So that's great because Sue mentioned you in her interview. So it's really
Oh,
nice
yeah.
to, I'll send it to you.
Thank
It's from
you. I miss
2022,
her.
but
It's been
she
a
was like,
minute.
oh, she lost contact with you, but she said she was like closest to you too. So it's really nice to hear that.
Nice. Nice.
All right. And do you have any like fun or like unusual stories behind the microphone or?
I think probably the way Sue and I recorded in booths,
Hmm.
but simultaneously is probably the best, just in terms of the fun we had and doing something in a new and different way. I think that's probably my most memorable. And this used to be a great story, but I feel like now that there's so much water under the bridge,
Hmm.
so many years have gone by that it's kind of played out. But I remember I went to one anime convention
Hmm.
and I was invited to go. It was a smaller market on the East Coast, and I went,
Yeah.
and they asked me to share about Dirty Pair Flash. So I
Hmm.
shared the story that I shared with you, Thomas, about how we
Hmm.
recorded. And this was probably, oh my gosh, like 97
Yeah.
or not, it was in the time where I was
Yeah.
actively recording and whatnot. So I go there and I tell the story like I shared with you, that I was so
Hmm.
excited to be able to work behind the microphone, but in a way that was more akin to acting or contact improv or comedy. And there were crickets in the entire
Hmm.
room. No one was locked in, no one was captivated or interested. And I was feeling so bad, like I wasn't
Yeah.
delivering on what they had invited me there to do. So I asked for questions. I said, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And again, it was just crickets. And finally, one brave young guy
Hmm.
slowly raises his hand. And I said, yeah, please, I'm happy to answer anything. What are you thinking? And he said, well, do you think if Yuri had a lightsaber, she would be more powerful? And I thought, oh my God, I have completely done this entire convention wrong. They wanted the lore. And here I am talking about my
She did have a
experience.
lightsaber. She did. Mhm.
Oh my gosh. It was just, yeah, I was not prepared. I was not prepared at all. So that
Well,
was probably the best
if
one.
I was born in 98. So if I was like, I don't know, like 20 years younger, I would have been.
Thomas, you were born in 98. Oh my
I know.
God. I love it. I love it. I love it.
But that's like traumatizing. I'm sorry that happened.
No, it's not. It's not traumatizing. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
And I felt so bad. I tried to just like flow into his world, and start
yeah.
talking to him and, but yeah, yeah, it was
But Yuri
interesting.
did have a lightsaber, so I don't know what
I
he's talking
I'm sure I have it wrong. I'm sure he asked in a
about.
better way. My battle with somebody, or I'm sure I'm not doing his question justice
Yeah,
right now. But I will say, I think later, wasn't it? It was an SNL skit
yeah.
with Captain Kirk, who they did the same thing where he goes to the
Yeah.
convention and they're asking it. And I thought, oh man, all right, okay, this actually happened and it's actually happening in other people's lives too, because they're completely ripping this off on SNL.
Yes.
But that was a good homage to the experience. I thought, okay, this is real.
I love it. Would you ever do like a convention again, or you kind of like close that chapter in your life? Like, what you think? It's okay.
No, I'd totally be open. In fact, I did another interview recently. I think this is the one you mentioned that you saw. And
Hmm.
it was, oh my God, Kurt was there and Kimberly Yates and
Yes.
Tiffany Grant. So it was so cool that
Yeah.
we got to reunite just in the virtual space. But I really enjoyed that. I really
Hmm.
loved the opportunity to connect with everyone. So
Yes.
I think it would be fun to do something like that and to do it in person,
Yeah.
see everybody you worked with and just reminisce and have some fun. And, you never know what's coming down the pike. So it's always good to make connections and to stay in
Yes, it
touch.
is. Awesome. All right. And is there like a dream role you wanted to take on someday, or like in the past or present? Have you ever thought about that?
I haven't I haven't pinned down like a specific anime role that I would
Hmm.
want to do. I'm kind of one of these kind of airy fairy people that I feel like things come
Yeah.
into your life at the time they're
Yeah.
supposed to and for the reasons they're supposed to. So I haven't really thought about it, but I can share that I was binge watching The Bear recently. Have
Yes.
you gotten into this?
Yes. Yes. Oh,
It's so good and it
yes.
moves like a freight train. The speed and the impact of the show really, really moved me. I happened to be at some friend's house, and a girlfriend and I were watching this on the sofa. And I
Hmm.
remember in one of Jeremy's monologues,
Yeah.
when he's the bear, just being completely in that moment with him. I was so riveted. I just started crying,
Yeah.
jumped on Olga and, crying and raging, like, oh my God, can you believe this? What he's going through? And it was just such a testament. It was like the most
Hmm.
recent example, but it was such a testament to me of the power of art and how the real purpose, in my humble opinion, is to create a feeling in others.
Hmm.
It's not always the feeling you intend to create in them, or sometimes your character is positive, sometimes they're not so great, but what that moment, just hanging out with Olga, on her couch with her crazy three dogs running around, I thought, oh shit. Oh, sorry, Thomas. I thought, I got to do this again. I need to do this again. So I just had that stirring feeling like I want to do monologue work. And I really don't even care what it's for. Like if I'm auditioning seriously, or if it were for theater or voiceover or commercial or just for fun, I just want to do it.
Yeah.
So I was talking to friends about that and
Yeah.
how, okay, I think I may just get a coach again and just start working just to
Yeah.
work because it's so much fun. But my life did take a big turn when I was struggling in New York and
Yeah.
had to have a day job. And after, shoot, probably 6 years, I think it was the 6 year mark of auditioning hard and working a temp job, I had to set it down just out of
Yeah.
survival.
As
And
like an artist, like I totally understand. Like sometimes you just like, it doesn't pay well. Like you're not gonna get rich off of, like voice act. It's hard. It's really sad because, we put so much
yeah,
hard work into our stuff. But it's just like it's hard. And, sometimes you're just like, okay, I gotta here.
totally true. It was a legit grieving process for me to
Yeah.
say, I'm not going to focus on acting anymore. And I actually did go back. I was temping for L'Oreal, crazy
Hmm.
enough. So they paid my tuition. So I went back in New York to the new school and I finished my undergrad. And I
Hmm.
was 40 at the time
Hmm.
when I finished my undergrad work. So, anything's possible, whatever
It
you're feeling in
is.
your heart, go for it because anything is possible. And L'Oreal generously paid my tuition and my books
Yeah.
and my fees and all of that. So I graduated 4 years after that
Hmm.
because it was at night. And I happened to be working as an executive assistant to the president of
Hmm.
L'Oreal Paris brand, and then she moved to L'Oreal Luxury. So over all the luxury brands from Lancome to Kiehl's to Armani to
Hmm.
YSL to all the fragrances. So I saw a lot from my
Yeah.
seat, but I really couldn't picture myself in business. And I
Yeah.
had gotten just a liberal arts undergrad. So I really was having a hard time finding my way in making this segue out of the arts
Yeah.
and into like a legit professional
Hmm.
career in business, and I wanted to add value and make an impact. So I was very, very fortunate. One of the heads of marketing for the Kiehl's brand, Megan Grant, she's actually
Hmm.
president at Louis Vuitton now, but
Ooh.
she approached me when she was at Kiehl's and she said, "Do you want to do QVC at Kiehl's for Kiehl's?" And I said, "Yes, I can do that." So that was my foot in the door. I started
Hmm.
doing their hits on QVC. We really drove one of our products, Midnight Recovery Concentrate. We still have it today. It's a
Hmm.
fantastic product. So we drove that to substantial revenue. And then I applied for a position in education and
Hmm.
customer experience. So I still got to be on the stage as a trainer and an event
Hmm.
facilitator. And then, shoot, for the last 15 years, I started at the bottom as an area trainer in the Northeast. And I've worked my way up through training to curriculum design to strategy. And now I'm vice president leading the education and events team at Keels in the US. So I feel very fortunate that I took some of my transferable skills
Hmm.
from my acting life and was able to bring it forward into this. And I think leadership too requires not only great big ideas and a clear vision forward, but it also takes the art of influence and galvanizing a crowd and saying, come on, and bringing everybody along and getting them bought in. So I think some of those transferable skills really, really work to my favor. But I sure do miss a good monologue.
Yes. I love it. I'm very proud of you. Happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a crazy road. It's been a really
Yes.
crazy road. And I just encourage everybody, you too, my 1998 friend, to,
27 years old.
I love this, Thomas. You have everything ahead of you.
I
Follow
do.
your friend, follow your heart, and remember that life is happening now in this moment.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
No regrets.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to ask you a few more questions. And you were on Houston's like first like kind of like LGBTQ like cable show, TV Montrose. Do you have like anything to say about that? Because that's like really groundbreaking.
Oh, oh my gosh. Yes. I was so honored to have the opportunity to work with Steve. He was our producer, our director, our post production editor, our everything on TV Montrose. And, thinking about leadership and how, this Steve was a leader. He had a big vision. He was entrepreneurial, and he said, I'm going to do this. And it was at a time where, I was a baby actor. So I look at my work now and I'm like, cringe. But it taught me so much. And he took such a chance on me. And I think moreover, like on a deeper level, I mean, just the friendship with Stephen, the adoration and what he gave to this project was mentor material. And then the fact that he took a chance on me as a fresh young actress and was willing to put his bet on that was just, I'm so grateful for the opportunity and the learnings along the way. But I think what's most important and fulfilling looking back on TV Montrose is what we did for the LGBT. Well, it was LGBT then. We didn't have the QIA plus yet, but the LGBTQ community. And, it's interesting because I think about being in the South in Houston, Texas, and, it wasn't easy to be out.
Yeah.
But I think Texan people, for the most part, have really great big hearts. And even if they don't agree with what they consider your lifestyle, they still have tons of love and tons of tolerance and tons of acceptance. I should say it's better than saying tolerance. So it was an interesting time to be in the South and to stick your neck out and go on good old cable TV and do something like this. I'm super honored to have had that opportunity to be in this moment in our history. Also, the AIDS epidemic was at a high. And this is something that still I become very emotional about, even though we have come so far. My best friend was fighting this completely terrible and awful, polarizing disease, and there was not enough focus on dollars for a cure or awareness or prevention or testing or change management that needed to happen to really build more advocacy and more trust. So I remember there were a lot of people out there. I was your age at the time, right? In the late 90s. I was born in 68, 78, 88. I was like 20 to 30 when I left Texas to go to New York. And it was during this time that, my bestie, John, got very, very sick and unfortunately passed. And it wasn't just this one person. It was happening everywhere you looked. And a lot of people like me were just taking care of our friends as best we could. And, this is a 24-year-old that doesn't know anything yet. He deserved so much more from parents, friends, loved ones, our community, support, healthcare support that should have been there for him. And I know we lost so many people at that time. It's like indelibly etched upon my mind's eye. And I've been reflecting on it a lot because I think, at least for me, it was a difficult time and place to be
Hmm.
out. I remember my girlfriend and I at the time, you know,
Hmm.
struggled with that just within ourselves. I was
Yeah.
like uh, fearless, and she didn't feel that way at that time. And
Hmm.
everybody's on their own journey, right? And their
Yeah.
own timeline. But I think, you know, it makes a relationship hard. And I think all the pressure too to make things sort of heteronormative,
Hmm.
you know, the pressure from culture to
Yeah.
really decide what you want for yourself, what kind of life you want, what kind of love you want, what kind
Yeah.
of partnership or commitment you want. And, you know, these are big, huge questions that I
Hmm.
think kids today, your age, Thomas,
Yeah.
I'm still going to call you a kid, even though you're
I
27,
am a kid. I'm
I'm
a
an
kid
old
at heart
lady,
always.
you guys have it figured out. You
Yeah.
have this idealism that comes with the very, very young millennials and the
Yeah.
Z's that are like, hey, we will not apologize. We are
Yeah.
individuals and this is it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very refreshing. And
Yeah.
it's really something that we've needed as a culture to continue
Yes.
pushing these
Yeah.
boundaries because it wasn't always that easy.
Yeah.
So, long winded answer to TV Montrose. I mean, I am so honored
Yeah.
with all that was going on, with people struggling with their identities, coming out, the HIV/AIDS
Hmm.
epidemic. What do we do? Here was a magazine show
Yeah.
on cruddy little Houston cable
Yeah.
TV that showed you all the places you could go, who had parties or block parties or drink specials or film festivals or all the things that would be going on in and around Montrose,
Hmm.
the museum district that were LGBTQ, LGBT friendly. And I'm just, even though it was a bit heteronormative, like a
Yeah.
low budget entertainment tonight
Yeah.
for Houston, Texas, I'm so honored to be a part of something
Yeah.
that was fearless and brave. And even though it was pretty vanilla, it
Yeah.
was still thought provoking, and
Yeah.
especially at the
Yeah.
time.
It's all of the episodes are on the University of Houston's like uh website. It's amazing.
I
Hmm.
know. I was interviewed by a writer, I think, for Texas Monthly, that, and
Hmm.
rightfully so, he like slammed my performance, and rightfully so. It was the first thing I ever did on camera. So he's absolutely right to have dissed me there. But I tell you what, it's such a moment in
Yeah.
time that I'm sure, could I have done better? Heck yeah. Could I have
Yeah.
practiced more? Oh yeah. But guess what? We basically had a rock and a stick back then
Yeah.
to work with, and
Yeah.
you had the talent you had, and
Yeah.
holy smokes, I'm just glad that I had the opportunity
Yeah.
to
And
do it. It
I
wasn't
watched
good
a few
though.
episodes. You did great. You did great. Mhm.
You are very generous. You're
Yeah.
been very generous. I know I'm always too big for on camera, but I hope my passion and my authenticity shine through.
They do. All right, just a few more questions. Okay. Is there anything you would like your fans to know?
Oh no.
Oh, can you hear me now? Am I good? Can you hear me now? Here, wait 1 sec. Wait 1 sec. Okay, can you hear me now? Are we good?
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear you. Yeah.
okay. The last question. Sorry about this. I'm at the library right now, so I'm just like the
Oh,
free
it's all good.
Wi-Fi.
It's all good. Let me just fix my camera again.
The last question, the last two questions are there anything you'd like your fans to know or to say to them? And do you have any skincare tips?
Oh, these are great
Mhm.
questions. So, fans, oh my gosh. Well, I didn't even know that I had any until recently. So, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys have honored me in a way that you just don't even know. I'm just astounded. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching, and I'm hoping I entertained you a little bit with all of that
You
in
did.
there. Um, skincare tips. So I know you probably can't tell as well on camera, but I'm 57. I have not had laser procedures or fillers. I'm a huge, huge advocate for skincare, which
Hmm.
I'm sure comes across. But I will say I'm not the best at doing a really big, elaborate morning and nighttime routine.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a bare bones girl, like keep
yeah.
it simple. So I would say if you're like me and you want a very simple sort of products that multitask kind of routine, um, you can make it easy on yourself,
Hmm.
take less time, and spend less money by having a high quality cleanser in your shower.
Yes, yes.
You have to have a really good quality hydrator,
Yeah,
a vitamin C, and an SPF.
perfect. Yeah, that's sunscreen.
Sunscreen, SPF, high quality moisturizer.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it one step farther, which I know is asking a lot with four products here, but retinol is the key to the
Yes.
kingdom for youth preservation. So look for products with those ingredients. Of course, you know I'm the biggest Kiehl's fan, so
Yes.
I can send you offline, Thomas, a list of Kiehl's
Perfect.
products that I recommend. But seriously, for anybody who wants to preserve the youth, it's all about taking what your skin does naturally
Hmm.
and helping optimize that and get the most out of it. So, applying a skincare routine every day is like brushing your teeth or eating
Hmm.
your greens or drinking your water, or for those who like it, working out. So,
Yes.
it's really good to do it every day and get in the habit of clean skin, vitamin C, SPF, and retinol.
Yes. Perfect. That's what I've been doing. So,
Yay!
but I'm
Good. I'm
always
so
willing to switch up my product. So I
yeah.
will be in touch.
Awesome. Awesome. Kiehl's retinol is the bomb.com because
Perfect.
you can even use it around the eye area.
Hmm.
And when you're loving something, most retinols you can't apply near the eye, but this one you can even apply on the lid. And when you
Yeah.
like something, you want to just slap it on
Yeah.
all
Yeah. Yeah.
over and be done with it. So that's why I'm a fan of the Kiehl's.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Kim.
It's
It
my
was such an honor.
pleasure.
Yes. And I'll talk to you soon. And I hope the fans enjoy this because some people have been asking about you. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for doing this, Thomas. I so appreciate you. Send me a link and I'll post it on my social too.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Be well. Nice to have met you, Thomas.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.